Hi there, welcome to this tutorial for the dismemberment and bone break system. There's been a lot of requests just for the dismemberment, not for the movements that are based on it, not for the weapons, not for any of the awesome other stuff that's in there. So basically you just want execution dismemberment, so just to blow up. Cool. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to bring this into the third person template. I've already just put it in here just now. So to save any confusion, I'm just going to rename third person template to third person template underscore Bob. Okay, just so we know exactly what's going on. Cool, let's fix up redirectors and that should be us done. So what we're going to do is just bring in the third person character. Now, since I'm working with the dismemberment system and third person character, any of the changes that I make on the component, the bone break component, will have to be reflected in both characters. Okay, so for your example, in your game, you won't need to make the changes to the bone break character because you won't be using the bone break character, you'll be using your own. That makes sense? We're good to proceed. So, open up the blueprint. Okay, so this is a third person, and we also want to have the bone break character as well. That's characters, play character, bone break character. And we'll also end up having to use the dismemberment, the BPC DABB bone data component. That's under blueprints components. So this is the meat and veg of the dismemberment. This handles all of the heavy lifting, the parts, the switching of the animations, everything. So there's some key parts here that we need to look at. So, but first things first, let's just add in the bone component, BPC, bone data component. Right, done. Now we're going to need to set a couple of values in here. And I'll explain why afterwards, and it'll hopefully make sense in a bit. The dismemberment and bone break component, instead of using preset values, has been moved off on version 4.27 to being component driven. So health has its own component, death has its own component. The reason that's been done is it's easier for you guys to track down where something's referenced if it's referenced as the component. So you'll see exactly why in this example. Cool. So on third person character, we have the bone data. First thing we're going to need to do is we need to copy a couple of functions across from the bone break character. And these are only the ones that are used to send the information to the component. First one we need to do is do a search for f underscore dabb send component and variables to anim instance. It's quite a mouthful. All we do here, nice wee cheeky feature on 4.27, we can actually copy functions, and it takes all the information within the function, and we can just paste it. This is beautiful. Now the other function we need to get is dabb initialize components. Okay, so let's have a look for initialize. There we go, there she is. Copy this one and paste it in. Perfect. So to explain this, we're not going to be using the interaction component, because if you're going to be using this in your own system, you probably have your own interaction system there, and we're not adding the component, so just delete that. Remember, always reconnect and always have return node on your functions. So here we can see we've got the option of passing through a ragdoll camera and your third person camera. So for this example, it's going to be the follow cam just here. Oops, what have I done? There we go. It's going to be the follow cam. So we just drag that over, hang it over the TPS camera, and away we go. If you have your own ragdoll or death camera, by all means, add it in here. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to put the follow cam as well. Let's make is AI. This needs to be a variable. Okay, there's a reason for this because the component distinguishes between AI and characters, depending if it's going to get the character controller or if it's going to be referencing an AI controller in some events. Also, things like when it tries to create the HUD, we don't want to actually to bother creating a HUD if it's an AI or anything like that. So before I gibber on too much, let's create the variable, set it to replicated, and for this incident, we'll just say is AI yes, because it's just going to be a static, standy, shitty thing. Now, two other variables we're going to need are just hit new variable, select up here, and let's make two floats. First float's going to be health. If you already have health in your character, great, use that. No problems there. The next one we need is no, just health and death. That's all we need. Never mind. So replicate your health as well. Just set that to replicated and make sure you actually give yourself some health. So we'll give it 200 health. So it's a decent enough number. So that's fine. We're happy here. Now there's going to be, if we try to play this just now, there's going to be loads of errors. So what we're going to do is we need to look at the bone break, the BPC, try that again. The BPC DABB bone data, I probably should give this stuff easier names. Right. The first thing we want to look for is reference stats decrease. Okay, and you can see here, this is referenced by the owning character and the component assigned to the character. So if you were to search for this component across all of the blueprints, you would see that all the health is referenced by this component. Okay, so for the sake of us moving this out into your project, drag off and let's cast to Bob. Okay, see, that's why I named him Bob. It's much easier than third person character. Sort this and just delete this. Okay, so now we're casting to Bob, and what we're going to do on this one is we have to get health. Okay, and we want to minus from the health. Let's move this over here so you can see it. So health minus decrease value, and then we want to set the health. Okay, so this is all coming from your character. So remember, Bob is referencing whatever your character is called. And then we just take this up here. So when we're referencing a request to decrease the value of the health, health will be minused by the decrease value. That will then reset the health value and then return back to its normal operation. Simple. Now close all the tabs, clean this up a bit. Now, next one we need to look for is, there's actually a spelling mistake on this one, but let's pretend we don't see that. Reference health. I'm assuming it's supposed to be get, but again, let's pretend that didn't happen. So this one's only pulling back the health reference. So this is, again, nice and simple. Delete the reference, I'll undo that. Delete the reference to get component by class, and again, it's the statistics health. We don't need that because in your character, for this example, we need to cast to Bob. And then from Bob, we just get, wow, can't type, get health. Fire that in, put this one in here, and pop that out the end. Right, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to bother with sticking a 0 value on the cast field. Okay, so just assume that we've been nice and clean. It's annoying me now. Okay, perfect. So here and okay, perfect. Now, there's going to be another reference for the dead component that we need to find. So this one is reference dead get dead. Say. So the dead component again was removed from the character to a component to make it easier to find. But for this instance, we put it back on the character. So cast to Bob. You'll be seeing a theme here. If I can somehow misspell cast. Cast to Bob. And then this was death, dead, ooh. Did I make a dead reference? Ah, did not make a dead reference. That was it. Silly me. So, back to third person character, new variable, and let's rename this bad boy and we'll just call it dead for the sake of it. Again, replicate, save, compile and save. Let's go back to bone data. So, now if all has gone according to plan, yay, dead. So, there we go, and connect it up. So, owning character reference, cast a third person, Bob, he's dead, it returns the data if he's dead or not. Cool. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail on this one, but on the actions when you apply damage, there's a damage marker. Okay, nice and simple. This here, the DABB spawn text damage marker server. Find this and just break this tab, break this this link, and that's it. So that's under spawner replication, and just break this link to this one here. This will error, just because it's got a reference to something that's going to be depending on later. So you've got your own system, your own damage system. Let's work with that. So that just removes this error for us. Now, two more things we need to do, and we should be ready to go. So, did we copy the begin play event? Let's have a look. We didn't. Excellent. So let's go to the bone break character and let's look for event begin play. Double click on this and you'll find this here. So what I want you to do is we've copied some of the functions here at the start when we've done it at the side. Select this, copy it. Let's go back to third person character, find some space, zoom out a wee bit. So we've got this message now. We don't care about the spawning weapon on the client because you're going to have your own system for doing that, and this is just for blown parts of people's bodies. Setup HUDs, again, don't care about the HUD, so let's just stick with do nothing. Cool. What we have here is begin play. On begin play, inherit from parent. Check that the owning character reference is valid. Initialize components, that'll go in a loop until it happens. Get animation instances and update them. Now this one, spawn weapon client, we don't need because we just binned that. And at the end here, we also have the setup HUD. This example only area, this example only body of text, we can just remove. Anything in the code that says example only, feel free to delete if you're not wanting to use the example if you have your own setup. So set default speed, I'll leave that in place just in case your characters is, no, we don't actually need that, but for the sake of this, we'll just leave it in place, but you can delete that if you want. And then set reference to dead component we have done. So that should be us. Oh no, the last thing, I'm getting too excited there. So let's go to the event graph and we need to process the damage. So easiest way, damage. Let's do a search for that. Surprise, surprise, we have a little damagey thing. Now, if you look here, this is your point damage. This is your radial damage here. You can see that it's got the calls for going to ragdoll, is dead, send to different components. You don't need that now. All you really need is this here. I can somehow, come on, there we go. This and this. Okay, so basically the event radial damage, event point damage, up till the function, or sorry, the event DBB damage management. Right, and that's what you need. Copy this. Let's go back to your character, paste that bad boy in. Somehow I have got a straggler. Let's have a look. Nothing's broken. Nothing's broken. Save, compile, and that should be us. Oh no, I need to add the changes we've made to the bone break character, simply because we've removed them from the component references from the bone data. So bear with me 2 seconds. I'll just skip and do this. Cool, so I've just made those changes to there. You don't need to worry about doing them, so I paused the video for us to get that done. Change to the third person character. Now, if you look at the capsule, if we go to collision, is set to pawn. Weapons blocked, so there'll be no bone reference hits there. So let's go and change this. So hit pawn, custom, and just make sure that the weapon channel or the visibility, whatever you're using for the line trace or the damage to be applied or the hit to be registered, I should say, on your system needs to be not blocked by the capsule component. It has to hit a bone. So we save this, we check the mesh. The mesh is showing as blocking weapon, which is good because the mesh has the bones. Now let's try. And bang, 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 bang. Oh, it's the stuff. Now you can see the blood's happening occasionally and the ragdoll. What's this? Okay, so there's an error, it's appeared. So there's 2 things that I've noticed here that we may need to change. So reference set dead as component, set dead as component. So here, this is on rep. So let's go in here, and this reference set dead as component. We need to make one last little change, and again, surprise, surprise, we cast to Bob. Delete this, because we don't need to set with on dead replication. Don't crash, don't crash. So let's try that again. So character reference, cast to Bob, and then from Bob we get set dead, and then just replace the rep notify. Again, this would be your own dead reference or your own whatever you use to justify your character's death or to apply your character's death here. So that should be that done. Now let's give that a try. So we've upgraded the collisions and we've got the set dead. If all has gone according to plan, body parts should start flying. Nope. So if we look on the character and then we have a look at the bone component, if we just type in dismember, you can see here this value, on damage can dismember. click this, save, and now there we go. So as you can see, the damage is being applied, the character's health is being affected, and you now have your execution dismemberment. Okay everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to work with me through this tutorial. If it's been useful, please hit the subscribe at the bottom, and catch you later.